This is the Holy Week meditation by Yoga Devotion for 2020, and today we're looking at Spy Wednesday. An introduction. Spy Wednesday is a lesser known and often not observed part of the Holy Week story, though clearly Judas was a major player. Perhaps this is because we really don't know what to do with him in light of our call as Christians to forgive. Perhaps in light of how Jesus treats him as well. Or perhaps it's because none of us like to imagine ourselves into this part of the story. In Walter Wangerin Jr.'s book, The Book of God, that I'm reading from for the Yoga Devotion Holy Week devotions, the story takes an interesting turn. In this novel version of the Passion narrative, we are to imagine that Judas really just wanted to push Jesus to reveal his power. He pushed the envelope, as it were, but things did not go the way he expected. The outcome led to a different kind of glory, the glory of the cross. As we imagine ourselves in this part of the story, see if you can let go of both judgment and a tendency to glorify actions that you might have taken had you been there. We are, after all, post-resurrection Christians. Lean toward authenticity in your imagining. Simply be present in your breath and aware of God's presence. Let's enter the story and experience the passion. First, we find a comfortable seat, knowing that we can change our posture whenever we need to accommodate what our body is telling us it needs. Our pranayama today is an equal breath pranayama, so inhaling and exhaling in equal length. Just take 2 or 3 equal in, equal out breath. And notice the calming of the nervous system. We use the breath to come to center, to stay centered, and just let go of distractions that draw us away from our breath. Our breath prayer today, if you choose to use it, is to inhale, open my eyes, and to exhale that I might see. Try that breath prayer on 2 or 3 times and see how it fits for you. We begin our Vinyasa series to prepare for meditation. Remember, listening to your body and your breath is the purpose of the movements that we offer through Yoga Asana. Let's begin by pressing our palms together at heart center. And just feel the space between your shoulders. We will add movement with our breath. Inhale and slowly look to your right. Exhale, come back to center. Inhale and look to your left. And exhale, come back to center. Go ahead and repeat that 2 or 3 more times. Let's do it one more time and add the breath prayer, this time inhaling, open my eyes, exhaling, that I might see, Inhaling, open my eyes. Exhaling, that I might see. Let's pause here and switch our front leg if it feels right in your body. And then let's tent our fingers to the sides. We're going to move into some lateral side stretch with standing mountain pose, arms high. So let's begin. Take a deep breath. And exhale, bring your right arm up and over as you lean to the left. Come back to center, reach high to the heavens, and then move to the other side. Go ahead and flow that vinyasa as many times as you need to. Let's do one more. And then let's bring our hands back to heart center and pause for a resting breath and switch our seated position if our body invites it. Sometimes that can be just switching the front leg. Sometimes it feels better to stretch your legs out. Listen to your body. It will tell you what it needs. And before we come into a spinal twist, we're going to place our hands on our knees and we're going to gently cat-cow. So as we inhale, we lift our eye gaze, press our heart forward, and as we exhale, we round into cow pose, pressing to the back of our workspace. Go ahead and do that just a couple more times. Again, you can incorporate the breath prayer whenever you feel the need. And then we're going to come into our spinal twist. We'll begin by placing our left hand behind us and opening our right arm out to the side, and then on an inhale, sweep that hand all the way down to the opposite knee. On an exhale, you can slowly turn and look over your shoulder. Take just a couple of breath prayers here. Come back into the story with the breath prayer. Open my eyes that I might see. You come out of a twist on an exhale, so on your next exhale, come to center, pause, and then set up and move to the other side. On the next exhale, slowly come back to center. And then prepare yourself for meditation. For some of us, seated meditation is the best way to come to breath, and for others of us, perhaps lying down is an option. More importantly, settle in your breath as I read our story. That evening, the disciples and Jesus went to eat with Lazarus in Bethany. They reclined around a table while his sister Martha served them. Then Lazarus' other sister Mary entered the room and walked to Jesus, carrying an alabaster flask of ointment, pure nard, extremely expensive. She went behind Jesus where his feet were stretched out on the floor, and she knelt down. She broke the flask and anointed the feet of her Lord with a slow flow of oil. Then she wiped his feet with her long hair, and the house was filled with the precious scent. In a choked voice, Judas said, "What about the poor, Lord? What about those who are least in the world? Shouldn't this ointment have been sold for 300 denarii and the money given to them?" Judas' face was red with emotion. Jesus, too, reacted with emotion. "What's the matter with you?" he said. "Who are you to blame this woman?" Judas' eyebrows rose to his hairline. He couldn't utter a word. "Let her alone," Jesus continued. "She has done for me the good work, sir, that no one else has thought to do. She has anointed my body in advance of my burial. The poor will be with you always. I, on the other hand, will not always be with you." Mary understands that. Do you? Do you? Do you, sir, take my meaning now? Judas could not so much as nod. He was suffocating in humiliation. By sunrise on Wednesday, Judas had made up his mind. He resolved to accept confusion no more. He did not understand Jesus. He could not penetrate the Master's recent talk. But he could take matters into his own hands and create the clarity that he and the times required. Everything that Judas had foreseen was coming to pass. Multitudes had gathered in the holy city, intense with anticipation. They were like dry kindling waiting for the flame. The flame must come from a precipitating act by his master. Jesus was not acting, but perhaps Judas could himself trigger that act. Clearly, the revolutionary power lay with Jesus of Nazareth. It was Jesus whom the people had extolled as Messiah just 3 days ago. And then Jesus had exhibited a divine wrath in the temple, bold in opposing the authorities, mighty in his miracles, absolutely transporting in his rhetoric. Jesus had to be the Messiah. Perhaps these latter hours he had become a reluctant Messiah, but no one else fulfilled prophecy as he did. Therefore, Judas had decided not to plumb the reluctancy, but rather to force the Lord into action. He would arrange a confrontation from which Jesus could not withdraw, except by openly displaying his messianic power. Judas would bring the enemies of Jesus directly to him. Yes, and to his disciples too. When the enemies attempted to attack both him and those whom he loved, the Lord would have no choice but to take up his royal power and reveal himself as the Anointed One, the King. On Wednesday morning, then, Judas presented himself to the chief priests and the captains of the temple and said, "You've given orders that anyone who knows where Jesus of Nazareth is must come and tell you." "We have," said the chief priests. "And I suppose you wish to arrest him somewhere apart from the multitudes." Continue. "Well, I can lead you to him when he is in a private and unprotected place." They said, "But you are not a stranger to us, sir. We know that you are one of his disciples. Why would you betray your own master to us?" And Judas replied immediately, "For money," he said. "Pay me, and I'll do it. Pay me enough, and I'll do it soon." The chief priests acted exactly as Judas thought they would. This part of the plan worked very well. In order to bind himself to themselves, they weighed out 30 pieces of silver then and there, and poured it all into the bag Judas had brought for that purpose. We invite you to sit in your meditation for as long as it feels right for you. And when you close your time in meditation, take the images you've created with you throughout this Holy Week. Take with you a blessing that the light that is within you is a light that shines forth from you, lighting the path for all who journey with you. Peace be with you. Namaste.